I have to agree with you there. I think probably SKillous, just because I believe he's a bit more experienced in the mod, but we'll see. Maybe Spirit can, maybe old mate Piotr can surprise us, as we've had a lot of surprises in the group stage so far, but regardless, we're going to be loading in here on ley lines for our first map, where we're here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the bottom left. We have our red StarCraft 2 Protoss player, going to be representing Team Liquid, as we always. Going to be doing some calculations to see how unit interactions work, apparently. From what we can gather, we have SKillous.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner, teasing mech, playing the Brood War Terran race from the land of Poland, it is Spirit. We go against Spirit, asking SKillous, how good are vultures in this matchup. Also signaling as well, maybe mech is on the horizon, and also maybe that he hasn't played too much of mech versus SC2 Protoss, so it's hard to say. Or mind games.
He's signaling. Yeah. He's signaling. What is he signaling? Yeah. Just sending him out there,
Yeah.
He's sending the signals out, and what your brain decides to get from that. That's on you.
It's on your brain.
Yeah. Spirit on the brain. Piotr on the brain, as always.
I know what it is. I like the look of the depot. Like, I know you're talking about how it's scary because they can't obviously borrow. They can't
They can't. Yeah, they can't borrow. You know why they can't borrow, or why they can't lower? It's because they have exposed fans.
True. Wait, do the SC2 depot they don't have fans?
It's all internal. It's all internal. They don't have these exposed fans. They probably have fans, but it's inside.
You know what it is? So in Brood War you have these heatsink fans, right? That do keep everything cool and everything. It's very cost efficient, I would say, because what do you have in SC2? You have these water cooled depots, right? The tech is there, but at the same time, if it breaks, everything just crumbles.
Everything just gets destroyed, yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit more scrappy. You know what? It reflects the technology of the time.
I mean, you say that, I still don't.
Yeah, I don't trust water.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
I don't trust water cooling personally.
I don't either.
Yeah. I'm still using an air cooler on my CPU. There are people who get liquid cooling for their graphics cards nowadays. I'm like, what are you doing?
And just get a fan.
If you really want to join Team Liquid, just get good.
True.
This is not the way.
Also, we have confirmation, by the way. Second factory alongside Ion Thrusters, it is going to be mech from Spirit.
Yeah, that was the intended signal that came out here from Spirit. Spirit, I like this a lot, though. He learned his lesson from his series against 3 Point. He is getting a safety Goliath.
Oh, okay. Safety Goliath on the way. Spirit, he has yet to scout anything, so that makes sense, right? It makes sense because there's no early Reaper scout. So for all he knows, it could be a Stargate opener. Speaking of, it is Stargate play out of SKillous. He is amassing pieces, so having the wherewithal to actually make a safety Goliath does make sense here, and it will keep him somewhat safe against the blind build that he's up against.
Second Goliath. At 1, but...
Yeah.
Okay.
Second Goliath on the way. Phoenixes are amassing back at home. SKillous rushing into a third Nexus. A very fast third base here from the Protoss. The Vultures will confirm. They will get eyes on the expansion.
Not quite going to get eyes on these Phoenixes, but, I mean, that's the least of his concerns right now.
As Spirit does pull away, the Phoenixes are revealed here to the floating racks, and now Spirit knows. Now Spirit knows what to be prepared for. The Goliaths are trying to keep up with the Phoenixes. They bust into the main.
And it will be able to deter the Phoenixes, at least for the time being. This is something I really like about the Goliaths compared to the Thors. They don't waddle. Or at the very least, when they waddle, it doesn't look like they're just... They bend their knees.
Yeah.
When they walk. unlike the Thors.
They look so much like you know the prototype bot in RoboCop,
Yes.
the one that kills the CEO in the building. Yeah,
The
that
one
one.
that was first. Yeah.
Yes.
They actually have purpose, and they're kind of hard to kill. At least when you have all these SCVs repairing at the same time.
The repairs are crazy. I mean, there's a give and take, right? It's like Phoenixes, they can't lift Thors, they can't lift Goliaths, but the repairs are there just in time. Spirit, he holds on, and SKillous is forced back.
Yeah. For the time being, anyway,
Oh.
as he is still going to be able to get into that third base. Goliath's acting as a really good deterrent against all these Phoenixes. This was a pretty hefty investment from Skillous, and yeah, so far I'm not convinced that it really paid off, but thankfully he is transitioning out of it. He is getting a proxy, but also going to be getting into Charged Archon.
Yeah, it's one of those things where these Phoenixes were a big investment, but they have allowed Skillous to take a faster base and get a greater economy. So Skillous, he does have that economic advantage. The proxy is going to be shut down, and Skillous is transitioning, as you mentioned, into Charged Archon.
Which, as we kind of saw earlier in Skillous versus the SCC, very effective against Brute War Mech if your opponent doesn't have a buffer for their tanks. This time, though, Spirit, he's got a lot of vultures. He's invested quite heavily into his Goliaths, but for the time being, he's going to cease production of them.
Yeah, he's investing into spider mines, of course, so we can eventually throw them down. As I say, the vulture's getting caught out, and some of them do fall, so Spirit has to be very careful with how and when he does use his vultures, as he will eventually get into his tank production. For the time being, his tank count is very low. He only has one tank, so he's not really quite set up for that, but he'll get there eventually. We'll see if he can, though. We'll see if Skillous can try to hit it some kind of timing before he's quite ready for it.
Now I'm just waiting in suspense because that's a cheeky little warp prism making its way across the map, and okay, not quite going straight into the main, but it's going to be setting up for some harass outside of Spirit's third.
Yeah.
It's a lot of spider mines, but not in the third location.
Yeah, okay, so we have the main army pushing to the center. With the main army for Skillous pushing to the center of the map. At the same time, drop into the main base is ideally going to hit at the same time to try and pull Spirit's attention apart. Likewise, spider mines are not set up here at the third location, so Spirit, he's looking a little bit vulnerable. Phoenixes, they do get a couple of vultures.
Yeah, a couple, but not too many. Those are vultures that, of course, already spent their spider mine charges. Yeah. Warp prism, there are no turrets, yeah, I was at Tech Labs. Missile turrets over here to defend, so the Warp Prism going to be getting a lot of damage done. Vultures are so fast, though.
They are so fast. We'll see if they can respond in time. We have a couple of spider mines, but the main army does hit the third. The tanks are in position, though. Spirit, he does hold them to the third base at the same time. Zealous bust into the main, but they do not get any economic damage.
None whatsoever. They'll delay the starport, but apart from that, not really going to slow down anything else here.
Yeah, I mean, so far, Spirit, he's holding quite nicely here. Does have a minefield set up on the right-hand side, but Skillous does spot it with his Observer. He is aware of what's going on. We have the XD from
He's
Spirit.
all the spider mine, yeah.
As he does push forward, and Spirit, he's getting out of hand here.
Yeah, it's just way too much mech. But way too little Protoss.
Yeah, and here we go. Here comes a massive move out, and Skillous, sure, he has all these bases, but his main army is lacking, and he's getting into immortal production now, but he needs more immortals here and now. He's going to try and engage with the main armies over these Link Stalkers, but Spirit has an overwhelming army.
I mean, engage is certainly a word to use here. He's going to try to poke back and forth in order to try to keep Spirit back while he gets to his immortal production. He only has one Robo. So that's absolutely worrisome, and now the tanks are right on top of his face. He does have a lot of gateways, though, and that's a lot of zealots that he can utilize. He's going to be trying to go for a flank.
He's setting up first round, but doesn't take too long here as the base is going to fall. The Nexus is going to be broken down. Zealots are catching reinforcements. As you mentioned, we attempt to surround, but there are so many spider mines behind the tanks.
Yeah, Skillous. He has to go one by one with his zealots in order to clear a path. He does have the Observer, so he is aware of these Spider-Mans. Fun fact, Spirit, once again, has not built any comp stations, so doesn't have any
Really?
scans available.
No shot. Who needs scans, Bobby? Who needs them? As the tanks, they are pushing forward here, slowly encroaching on the bases. Skills does have a hidden fifth base on the right-hand side, but it's not mining. It doesn't even matter, as Spirit, he keeps pushing in towards the mining bases of SKillous.
Yeah, now SKillous trying to go for the surround once again. The army supplies are actually looking fairly even, but it all comes out to the Spider-Mines and it will connect!
Oh my god! The friendly fire! That was a lot of friendly fire here on the tanks, and with that SKillous, he does get the surround. He cleans up the entire army. Very nice engage here from SKillous, and now he's all in. He has to counterattack here and now. He has to send it.
Yeah, he needs to take out at least 2 of these bases. It's going to be very difficult pushing on through because of all these Spider-Mines, but I mean, after that earlier engagement, as we saw, if you're able to drag some of this friendly fire into the Terran army, you can absolutely turn the game around.
Yes, again, the Spider-Mines are working against Spirit, but back at home, my god, we have a wall of tanks. Spirit, he's holding on. He won't lose a single. He will lose 2 SCVs, only 2. He does get eyes on the other fresh mining base here of SKillous, and these vultures are here to punish.
Yeah, I think the periphery bases should be falling, but SKillous not quite able to do much more beyond that. A little bit of friendly fire on the tanks, but in the end they will still survive. The base actually doesn't fall. It goes up.
Yeah.
And it survives.
CC lifts, so Spirit, he holds onto his expansion, he holds onto his mineral line. Likewise, SKillous does the same, he also holds onto his Nexus just barely as well. But I would give the edge to Spirit here. He does have a terrifying army. He has a lot of tanks, has to replenish here with more Goliaths, with more Vultures. He will be able to sustain himself and soon move out once again.
I just see the grid of SKillous attempting to lay down the Spider-Mines and it constantly changing because, you know, he's microing. He's clicking.
He is.
Spam clicking, boy.
As Vultures, they do go for another run by here at the mineral line. This time, SKillous, he's ready though. He does respond in time. He will be able to clean this up. And we do see the SKillous, he's working towards Sky Toss. Stargate and Fleet Beacon are on the way, but it's going to take a while here to really embrace that Sky Toss production.
Yeah, 1 Wraith. It's on the way.
Yeah, there are those Wraiths on the way here for Spirit. I don't believe he's fully aware of the Skytoss transition, but he is investing quite heavily into these Goliaths nonetheless. We do see SKillous pushing on the right-hand side. It is clearing up most of these Spider-Mines. Jeez, there are so many Spider-Mines here. Oh my god.
SKillous right now, he's playing Minesweeper.
He's trying. Takes a mine shot to the face. You can see how softened up these stalkers are. One more shot and they will go down, so he has to be so careful with how he does push in. Likewise, Spirit is still up in army supply, and now he's expanding and establishing another base.
Like so. Goliaths have an upgrade, right?
They may. Yeah,
Have a range upgrade, I think.
I think so.
I was just curious because I heard that they might have an anti-air range upgrade somewhere, and it's interesting that if that is the case, it's interesting that Spirit hasn't gone into that yet.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't confirmed Skytoss. Once he does it, I'm sure he will. But that still has not been confirmed, as he is pushing out across the map. We have a Cloak on the way for his race. Tanks are pushing forward as well, and SKillous, he's in a bit of trouble here. The Tempests are about to be revealed.
There's a terrifying ground army, and that's a lot of Goliaths. Don't really want to be in this situation without a buffer for your Tempest, as we can see. One of them already down to less than half health.
Yeah, as we do see Spirit slowly pushing forward, encroaching one of the bases. Oh, the Goliaths! They're going for the Tempest, and they do almost bring one of them down. Up.
Almost, but not quite. Now one of them will fall.
Yeah, one of the Tempest does fall. Zells, they dive on top of the tanks. Oh my god, the first tank line almost crumbles, and meanwhile we have a surround set up. Stalkers, they come in from behind, but they just run into the tanks. Oh my god.
6 tanks. That's pretty brutal to face when you only have Stalkers.
Yeah,
that charge a little bit prematurely popped, but it will keep the Immortals alive.
Yeah, the Immortals do barely holds on, but the Goliaths is slowly started stepping forward here within the production of SKillous. He's trying to hold on. The Tempest, they can of course outrange the Goliaths. They can pick away, but there are just so many Goliaths.
Yeah, but you know what? We have enough Tempests to start 2-shotting these Goliaths.
We are building up that Tempest counts. Is slowly building up. Meanwhile, I believe we do have that upgrade on the way, as you mentioned, for the Goliath, showing the Immaculate Accelerator
Graphic
there. Yeah, I think that's it.
Or image, yeah. Yeah, that is a maglev image. It's seared into my mind of all the times I was forced to research it.
I mean, it's back. It's back in SC2.
It is coming back, yeah. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, Spirit having a really tough time breaking this position. Meanwhile, SKillous, he just expands elsewhere.
Yeah, SKillous, he has been actually freely expanding towards the south. He's been left untouched, but oh my, as we say that, Spirit, he's on the way.
Yeah, these vultures, they are zooming. They have a cannon, but is the cannon really going to be enough to keep all these probes alive? I doubt it somehow.
Oh my, it's a Spirit, calm down, jeez. You see him spam the spider mines, and because he was spamming so much, only one got out. Jesus.
Yeah,
calm
the vultures
down.
just kept spasming.
Yeah, it looked like he was panicking. He was like,
Passing out, yeah.
Jesus. Calm down, Spirit, calm down.
Keep going, yeah.
Yeah, as this time he does set them up here to protect his Goliaths at least, as he's pushing in towards that natural. Zelda coming from behind. They do force some friendly fire.
Oof. Yeah, and that's actually helping out quite a ton. Look at how softened up these Goliaths are. The tanks are now gone. So Spirit no longer has a backbone to this army. The Tempests are falling, sure, but that was the entirety of the main army of Spirit falling, with SKillous not actually taking too many casualties.
Yeah, Spirit, he will lose a massive chunk of his army, but back at home he has another chunk as well. He lost only half. Now he's building up, working towards those science vessels, getting more expansions as well. His bases have also been left untouched, so the economies are still looking quite comparable between both players. And on top of that, because SKillous lost most of his Tempests, I mean, he doesn't really have the most ideal army to push in.
Not without a mothership, anyway. Spider mines finally going to be burrowing.
Yeah, some of them do burrow. Vultures are going to be cleaned up here, and SKillous will shut this down though without losing 12 workers. But again, his Tempest count is very low. If he had more Tempest, then I do think he could try to break out. But without them, he's going to be stuck here on his side of the map. Carrier production has begun. Meanwhile, Spirit is going to be the first to max out. He's making 10 Goliaths at a time.
Yeah, you may as well.
10.
Because he has 10 factories, yeah.
He can shoot up and down.
He actually has 11.
Yeah. As they'll say, do you actually get across the map? Finally, some SCV kills.
Yeah, you know what? Brute war Terran. No mules.
And no mules, so 5 workers do go down. SKillous, he has a comparable army size as well. He's building up. Again, he's very ground focused, which I do think is going to benefit him. I think that maybe Spirit has invested too heavily into these Goliaths, as again, they're not really ideal against a ground-based army. Meanwhile, 2 tanks going to be going down instantly. Nice start here for SKillous. He's pushing in.
Yeah, finding a little kink in the armor. EMP will land on top of the Archon, but our science vessel is out of energy.
Yeah, where the Zealot reinforcements, so SKillous has he overextended. The Immortal Stalkers, they're getting caught out. It looks like he's going to be cleaning up the mass Goliaths. They're holding on.
They are so slow at killing ground units, but yeah, eventually they will chase us back and chase away the rest of the Protoss ground army. Here comes some warping in Zealots, though.
Yeah, finally Zealots have arrived, but they were needed earlier, and the base is going to be under fire. You can see SKillous, he actually had a mothership ready for a recall into the main, but SKillous lost most of his army, so he doesn't really have much left to work with. But SCVs, they are going down across the map. There's going to be worker damage across the map. Likewise here for SKillous as well. Both players, they're hurting a little bit here economically.
Yeah, they're starting to get down into the mud. Starting to really bleed out worker after worker after worker here. Which in the end, I feel does benefit Spirit a little bit. He's starting to get a larger Supermax-ish army.
Yeah, he's building up that army here. Still mainly focused on Goliath. Meanwhile, Charge will say dive in.
And they take a while to kill these Goliaths, but they also take a while to die to the Goliaths.
Yeah, that was a much more efficient.
Coming out though.
Yeah, that was a much more efficient trade for SKillous. He killed a lot of Goliaths, but ideally he would have wanted to surround there, and he still just barely cannot keep up supply-wise. He did bleed out a little bit too much. Spirit rotating around. He will get a mineral line. No, the probes. Oof.
They just wanted to transfer. They just wanted to get out of there. And they did, but they didn't like the new place they found themselves, which was a grave.
Yeah, 18 probe kills. SKillous trying to keep up, trying to rotate over and save this expansion. Alas, Spirit, he is here again. Mass Goliath, that's all you need, man.
Apparently.
I mean, they shoot up and they shoot down. It's crazy.
X-wing that, yeah.
They're like the mech marine.
Exactly. That's why they call him that. Yeah.
At the same time, SKillous going for a Zealot run by. He gets 16 SCV kills across the map. So very valuable run by here for SKillous, but at the same time, the Goliath army does not turn around. Is still looking for a way in, but actually, we do see that SKillous, he's going to be able to hold on to that southern expansion. Spirit doesn't commit, but he is maxed. Jesus.
Yeah, he doesn't commit. He doesn't have to commit, but he can at any point.
Oh, yeah. Can and he will. He does force himself up the ramp here. He stutter steps forward as well. And SKillous, he just cannot keep up. Not anymore. He's being overwhelmed.
Way too much Terran on the ground. Way too many Goliaths here. Just realize how good of a unit they are. Tempest warps in just to die.
Yeah, Tempest does a walk into the Goliaths, and from here they can just step forward. They can have their way with this army. SKillous, he can no longer keep up production-wise with Spirit. He's going for some desperate Zealot run-bys. There's Zealots all over the place, Mothership as well, but last Spirit, it looks like he has done it. GG gets called. Spirit takes game number 1.
Wow. The power of the Goliaths, man.
Oh, yeah. GG, well played. A very strong showing there from Spirit, flexing his mech prowess here, at least with the Brood War race. And I would have to agree here, people bringing up the fact that SKillous, I mean, of course, he was neglecting any kind of robo-based composition. He initially went into Skytoss, which I think at the time was fine, but he committed into Carrier, into Tempest, despite the fact that he was up against Mass Goliath. Maybe not necessarily respecting like the power of Mass Goliath. It's very possible that maybe that's the first time SKillous has encountered that as well. Would not be surprised if that's the case, but clearly we see that again, like they're relatively cheap and you can mass them up, unlike Thor's, and they can do quite well against Skytoss units.
They also don't they also don't get trapped behind other units. They also don't waddle around if they get surrounded. Goliaths, they're pretty good. They have flexible knees.
They do.
And that makes all the difference.
They can climb stairs.
Yeah.
There you go, as we are now getting into game number 2, and oh boy, we'll see. We'll see if SKillous can bring it back here in game 2 and force the ace match, or if it all ends here and if Spirit makes it through instead.
Yeah, it's not going to be as devastating to my psyche, I think, as, again, these two players, I feel, were more of the wild cards coming into this, but again, I feel like SKillous, he's a little bit more experienced, and that's the evolution. But so far, hasn't really been able to translate that into victories. Regardless, we're going to be continuing our best of 3 elimination match over here on Sylphid, where we're here in the top hand area of the map. We indeed in a top area. We have our, according to the title card, our teal Brood War Terran player, but looks a little bit more like an aquamarine to me, or a little bit more like, it's a little bit greenish.
Yeah, true.
A little bit more like cyan, or an aquamarine. But apparently they are teal. Coming out from the land of Poland, currently teamless, we have Spirit.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the red Protoss player representing Team Liquid down in the series, looking to force the ace match. It is SKillous. SKillous opting to...
Sticking with... Oh! No, I was just going to say, once again, going to be sticking with StarCraft 2 Protoss, getting a gas steal out. We'll just give him the map already, yeah.
Let's go, let's go. True, true. You think Spirit needs gas when
Yeah.
playing mech? Nah, he's fine. Love to see
SKillous
it.
agrees, yeah. And that is a good point. I don't think we've really seen too much. Well, should say this as a caveat. I don't think we've seen too much successful Brute War Mech versus StarCraft 2 Protoss so far in the championship. I mean, Kiwian did go through the gauntlet of TVP, and almost always he went bio tank because lockdowns from Ghosts pretty good as it turns out against most StarCraft 2 Protoss compositions. So,
Are you saying that you want to see Lockdown again? Or are you thankful that Spirit is not embracing that?
I like the diversity that we've seen coming out from. I've liked that we were able to showcase successful mech, but yeah, I don't know. Lockdowns are pretty good. I feel like if you don't use it, it's like leaving money on the table, you know?
It's possible. It's possible. I mean, we already see a very different opener at a SKillous. As you remember, Game 1, SKillous did open up Stargate. Game 2, Robo. Robo opener here at a SKillous. Very safe play. What does this mean? This means early Immortal production. This can also mean early Colossus or early Disruptor production as well. So a very safe way to play. And this usually is a nice counter if you know that your opponent is playing mech. Meanwhile, oh my god, the greed as Spirit, he rushed into a third TC before Starport against Protoss.
Yeah. StarCraft 2 instincts are kicking in.
So faster TC into a second factory. So we have confirmation it is going to be mech at a Spirit. And because SKillous did open Robo, Spirit shouldn't really be punished too hard. As I say that, SKillous is going for a War Prison first.
Oh. Vultures are surprisingly good against Stalkers, even without Spider Mites.
They do well for themselves. They bust into the main base, they get into the mineral line, one probe goes down, and ideally Spirit, he wants to get a full scout of the main. Does he get eyes on the tech? He does. He confirms the Robo.
Man. StarCraft 1 Terran seems pretty good in TVP, I'm not gonna lie, like, I've been on the lookout for a new TVP build, but really, I should just be playing StarCraft Evolution when I play.
You're like, mate, I've been
TVP.
struggling against Protoss in SC2. Maybe this is my calling. Maybe I just want to, you know, get into Lockdown Ghosts and get into Mass Vulture. You know, maybe that's all I need. True.
Vultures, they two-shot probes. You get two vultures, you one-shot them, and they come out so quickly compared to like Banshees or anything like that.
You know how many,
they do well against Stalkers on like Hellions.
You know how many Hellions you need to one-shot a probe? 3.
3, yeah.
3 Hellions.
3, and it's hard to break into the base with your Hellions.
Yeah, you know, right?
You know?
Yeah, because they suck against Stalkers.
I was born in the wrong generation. That's all I can say. I was born in the wrong era.
God no. As we do have an Eps, they do come in from the right-hand side, so nice bit of control here by SKillous, going for the mineral line, getting some SCVs, 2-3 SCVs going down, not too bad. And with that, I believe SKillous also scouted the fast third base, and the mech.
Yeah. It's kind of the benefit of, I mean, that's kind of a trade-off, right? Of StarCraft 1 in the early, StarCraft 1 Terran in the early game, you're really limited when it comes to your anti-air options.
You are limited here. Meanwhile, we spoke about the Robo opener from SKillous, which means early Immortal production. He's going for the drop into the main, and with the help of the Immortal, he can actually fight against those Vultures.
Yeah, they do tend to deal pretty well against not just armored units that are their specialty, but also low health light units, which Vultures have to be.
Yeah, but the Goliaths have arrived. One Goliath goes down, but the other will zone away the Prism.
I like so. So it has to be careful though, because it does take a little while to kill a Warp Prism with Goliaths. So if at any point he's a little bit too close to land, Immortals will pop out and we'll just eliminate these Goliaths.
Oh yeah. Here we go. Also, someone asking in the chat, wasn't he with Team Liquid in the past? He's Team Liquid in the current, as I believe.
Are we talking about SKillous or are we talking about
SKillous? Yeah. Spirit? I don't think Spirit was ever on Team Liquid.
He was never on Team Liquid. Spirit, I mean. Neither was Soul.
True.
Yeah, SKillous joined
or
Team
Soul
Liquid
Spirit
about a year ago, or no, 2 years ago at this point. True. Soul Spirit. Different player though. Yeah, SKillous, he's been on Team Liquid for about 2 years at this point.
Yeah, quite some time. We do see additional vulture production here getting into ion thrusters. Finally, meanwhile, the immortal drop into the main takes down both gas geysers. Not bad.
Yeah, but Spirit has unlimited gas on one, so as he pointed out.
Yes, here we go. We do try to bust into the mineral line. We do get 4 probe kills. Not too bad, but oh, the vultures are cleaned up.
Yeah, they get a little bit of damage, but now that we actually do have stalkers out, now that we actually have more units out here for Protoss, it's a little bit easier to just deflect them and clean them up.
Does clean them up. We do have Disrupt production now on the way for SKillous, is getting to his 3rd base, and again, just a very different approach this time from SKillous. Just again, once again, very robo-heavy immortals, disruptors. We could be seeing a 2nd robo momentarily, 4th base on the way as well. I do like this a lot more against mech. I mean, we even see this composition a lot more often against SC2 mech as well, whenever we do embrace that, and we'll see if SKillous can try to get on top of these tanks. So far, they're unsieged. Up!
And so far, they are gonna live. Whew.
Yeah, the tank barely survives.
Same for the vulture, though.
Yeah, the Nova goes off, but the tank does live. SKillous, though, with his maneuverability, does rotate over towards the 3rd base and may force a lift, may even try to, threaten the base itself.
Try being the operating word here, as the rest of the mech army has grouped up in this 3rd, and they are going to be able to defend a lot better.
Yeah, Spirit, he holds. Does get to the 3rd base, he holds on, he forces SKillous back. Likewise, Spirit actually investing into additional wraiths. This might just, yeah, it looks like it's just for War Prism defense, just to keep himself safe here against any kind of War Prism harass.
Yeah, he knows that is the major advantage that SKillous really has right now. He has the War Prism, he has the maneuverability, and he has the ability to go with some multi-prong harass, so yeah, he's just going to try to cover that, and that's a nice blink away from the Spider Mine.
Yeah, very nice control here out of SKillous, avoiding those Spider Mine shots. Meanwhile, oh my god, a massive field of Spider Mines here towards the 3rd base. So Spirit, he is securing himself quite heavily, getting into more tanks, and as we've seen, 2 disruptor shots are going to be necessary to break through a tank. And instead of going Mass Goliath, this time Spirit is investing quite heavily, at least for now, into Mass Tank. Oh, and Goliath again. Never mind.
Yeah, taking a. Yeah, I was going to say, taking a much more defensive stance this time. He's slowly expanding. I don't think he's aware of the pylon about to be warped in outside of his force, but, ayo, regardless.
Yeah, the 4th base is spotted. SKillous, he will force a cancel. At least he will try to. Yeah, we go. The cancel on the 4th base. Meanwhile, we do have a War Prism drop into the main. The Prism goes down to the Wraiths, and the Zelts are cleaned up as well. They do get 4 SCVs, which is not too bad, but that was a big loss losing that Prism in the end.
Wraiths, man. They shoot down, they shoot up. I feel like Banshees are better.
True. I was gonna dispute that, but I mean they shoot up, so I mean Wraiths are pretty good.
They also have cloaked, yeah.
Yeah.
And they also have a cloaked, so. But you know what? They are jet powered. Whereas Banshees, they are air powered.
Okay.
They're helicopters.
True.
So Banshees, you know, a little bit more efficient with their energy.
Do love to see it. Skillets, once again, we do see a transition to Skytoss. That's 2 more Stargates on the way, plus an air attack, Fleet Beacon as well. I'm not opposed to a Skytoss transition like this, but once he does get eyes on the Mass Goliath, I would appreciate if they're more of just a supportive unit and less of a main, like, kind of core composition here, as we have seen Mass Goliath do quite well in the past.
Yeah, I was worried for a sec that the rocks were going to crush Spirit's army, but it was at a different angle.
Tower gets knocked down at the same time. Massive War Prism warp in here into the main. Oh my god!
And it was one angle that was to be covered by the Wraiths, by the missile turrets, or by anything really. And so, yeah, SKillous able to get a massive warp in and takes out 7 SCVs. Almost gonna get the armory. Not quite.
Yeah, Armory is barely saved. At the same time, Skills, he rotates over with his main army, does get even more transferring workers. The CC will survive, but I can't say the same for the middle line. That's 15 SCV kills here at the would-be 5th, or 4th even.
Math. That's all I have to say. Anyway, yeah, Spirit, he's been doing really well defending on 3 bases, but we're starting to get to the point where he really does need to get a 4th, and SKillous, well aware of the advantage of his army, its maneuverability, is doing his damnedest to just go back and forth between these base locations and prevent Spirit from ever expanding.
Yeah, Skills doing a great job, as you mentioned, to contain his opponent on 3 bases. Meanwhile, Warp Prism into the main, but this time there are turrets, and this time the Wraiths do keep up. They shut down the Warp in, they shut down the Warp Prism, and Spirit is trying to hold on here. As you mentioned, Skills doing a great job of being more active, being more maneuverable, and he's even investing into those upgrades. We have Blink DTs on the way and Tectonic Destabilizers.
Yeah, may as well. It looked for a second that Skills' Tempest were shooting at nothing, but they were in fact shooting at spider mines that were camouflaged.
Yeah, we do see Skills, he's able to hold his own. He does max out. Spirit is not too far behind him when it comes to getting into a maxed out army, and I'm curious how this all plays out. Also, very important to take note, we did just see a Nova go off on the Goliath, and it does take 2 Novas to kill a Goliath, so they can tank one of those shots. I feel like a lot of this is going to come down to these Novas, so on how well they do connect.
Yeah, it's a little bit of rock, paper, scissors, right? The Disruptors counter the Goliaths counter the Tempest counter the everything else that Spirit has.
That's true.
But yeah, it's all dependent on whether or not that it's rock, paper, scissors. If rock, paper, scissors is also luck based.
I'm also curious, like, if in this kind of game state as well, the Stalkers, they take down another expansion. CC goes down. 2 of them go down, actually, losing the 4th and the 5th base at the same time. I was going to say that I'm curious when it's worth investing into Valkyries here and going for a more Sky Terran army against Skytoss if the Disruptor kind of gets too high.
Yeah, we haven't really seen Spirit embrace that so far, but to be fair, he also only has 1 starport. He only has 1 starport because he's made 9 factories.
That is a lot of factories. Meanwhile, the Glass, they push forward, they fade out the shots. Novas go up. No big connections yet here from the side of Skillous, as Spirit desperately trying to just re-expand and take another base. Again, he barely has an economy to work with.
It's not quite going to be getting it. The Stalkers, they are getting caught out a little bit, but they will blink away, and also losing the Stalkers at this phase of the game, not the biggest deal here if you're Skillous.
Yes, he's just going to be making more Skytoss and more Disruptors. Meanwhile, Skillous, he's coming in from behind. Oh.
Yeah, starting to get a big surround on these Goliaths. Nice split in the end here. Away for the Purification Nova, but these Goliaths, they're going to take damage one way or another.
Yeah, that they are. Massive shots going off from the Tempest on those Goliaths. Spirit is desperately double expanding. Once again, trying to get these bases up and running. Skillous, Spirit, he has spotted that pylon, but you can see Skillous immediately reinforcing and warping in.
Yeah, wherever he can. I just like that Spirit still has not dealt with the pylon outside that 4th base location, so now we have DTs. Not just DTs, but Blink DTs.
Yeah, DTs.
And once again, no comm stations, so
no
scan.
Still no comm stations, still no scan available here for Spirit. DTs, they pop off, they take down the expansion. Once again, I have to wonder if Spirit knows that he can scan and that it's available in Brood War. He might not know.
A comm station earlier on.
Maybe he made it by accident.
The other game.
Maybe he didn't know what he was making.
It's possible.
He's like, oh, there's like a thing I can make here. Cool. Is that how I make nukes?
Yeah, it's like a tech lab. But for my CC, it's like,
there you go. As DTs, they do fan out. They hit the mineral lines. So many SCVs going to be falling. Mothership into the main. He can go for the recall.
Okay, not quite like this.
There it is.
Like so. Yeah, I was a little worried about those Goliaths for a second, but once you realized, wait a minute, they can't all get into position just yet. Was able to get him. 1 Purification over. It has a very juicy connection, but it's not quite going to be enough Mothership will go down, but the Tempest is still going to be getting plenty of damage, let me tell you.
Yeah, you can see the SimCity working against the Goliath. Again, Spirit Nova going to be going off once again, just zoning him away. Looks like Spirit, he will hold on to the main, but again, it may not matter here as the Tempest, they can just back off, they can rotate over towards the expansions, and they're going for, once again, the 4th base, making sure the Spirit cannot mine and cannot get an economy.
Like so. This game. 3, surprisingly, only 3.
Only 3 bases, but Spirit finally gets top right up and running, can somewhat sustain himself, somewhat. But SKillous, he has momentum, he's close to remaxing, he has control of the map, he's going for another base.
They're going to be expanding more towards the left-hand side as opposed to just taking his side of the map. SKillous, on the other hand, he's been expanding behind all of this. He has 2, 4, 6, 7 bases, and he's about to... And he's actually starting to encroach onto Spirit's territory.
Yeah, just mass expanding behind this. SKillous, he has a massive bank. He has 7k minerals in the bank. Not as much gas. Definitely that is something that is a little bit more scarce here for SKillous. But regardless, he is moving forward. He is once again applying pressure on the right-hand side, going for the mineral line, going for more SCVs.
And just once again, we're going to continue to starve out Spirit as much as possible. And this is a very... It is a pretty potent mech army, but if SKillous can starve Spirit out enough, it's also going to be the only army he'll have, as he will be able to recoup his casualties. 1DT is going ham. You know?
Yeah.
I believe this 1DT. I believe in this 1DT just wiping out the entire army because no scans.
There's no detection, yeah. There's 0 detection for the comsat stations that he's building them. They're coming. He knows. I don't know if he can use them because
but I didn't realize that Spider-Mines don't need detection, apparently.
No, this is
Spider-Mines don't need detection. No. The Spider-Mines targeted the DT before scan.
Oh. Okay.
Spider-Mines apparently have... Yeah, okay, so Spider-Mines provide detection. Okay, today I learned.
Do they?
Well, the Spider-Mines went off on the DT, so...
Okay, was that back at home? Or was that across
No,
the
that
map?
was outside. That was SKillous' base. But regardless, GG is called. SKillous going to be taking game number 2, tying us up 1-1. Bring us to our ace match.
GG, well played. SKillous does tie things up here. Again, a much stronger response to the mech army, as we did mention, going for the robo opener, going into a more zealot heavy, into disruptor immortal style, into eventual that late game Skytoss army, and we saw that SKillous, he was just making great use of his greater mobility, just knocking down base after base, time and time again, denying the 4th base, denying the 5th base. It took so long for Spirit to finally get a 4-base economy. So long.
Yeah, really textbook example of how to siege down and contain your opponent. Shout out to Anubis here in the chat, giving us confirmation.
Oh.
Spider-Mines don't provide detection, but they will still trigger on DT, so...
There you go.
Yeah.
Also, it's like they have like they have like motion sensors. That sounds cool. Where like they can still like sense like
Predator.
Sure. They can like sense like movement nearby regardless. That's nice.
Oh yeah, motion sensor, not heat detection. Yeah. Heat detection is more like detection. I almost said revelation because I realized that I said detection a bunch of times and it started to lose meaning.
It's all good. But with that, we're now getting into the ace match, and we are going to be getting into a very unique map as well, a map that we have yet to cover tonight. We're going to be loading into Monty Hall.
Here we go, another one of our very unique maps here coming out, and yeah, we'll get into why it's unique as here we go. Starting in the top left-hand corner map, starting all the way in the top left for the first time in this series. We'll be playing with, we have our red Brood War Protoss player. He'll be playing over from the Liquid House in the Netherlands. Actually, I don't know if it's the Liquid House itself, but I know that's where he's playing from. He's going to be representing Team Liquid. Oh, we have SKillous.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Terran player, the SE2 Terran. It is Spirit. from the land of Poland. And very quickly going over the map features themselves, as I don't know if Spirit is fully aware, but he is mining through the southern mineral wall. Fun fact, you can mine through the gold mineral patch in one swift move. It takes one worker to mine through that gold mineral.
One, yeah. Literally just one patch.
So if he wanted to expand on location, he could have, but he's slowly working through the wall. It's okay.
Well, he's saving that gold for a rainy day.
True. That one mineral.
You never know when you need it. Yeah. That one mineral.
Yeah.
You might. It could make all the difference.
True.
You know?
True.
That one mineral that can be the difference between a wall or a not a wall. SKillous just steals.
Yeah.
SKillous just steals one of the gold minerals.
Yeah, he just takes the gold minerals himself. He gets a full scout as well. Spirit is now going to be revealed here, going for the CC first into a 2 racks follow-up from the side of Spirit. But we did gloss over it. We do have mineral walls. We have mineral walls locking the players into their own main base. They have to mine through them specifically to be able to expand and to be able to get into a lane of attack. There are 3 lanes here in total, and there's no way to rotate between them outside of coming back to your main base or with air-based units or Nidus worms or things like that.
Yeah, or float.
True.
An interesting choice here from Spirit. He's actually just going to be walling off this middle rush location, and just gonna be focused. I say that he hasn't actually mined out the left-hand side.
Yeah, he'll get there. Again, it does feel like maybe Spirit, he hasn't actually played too much on Monty Hall. I don't blame him. Even when it comes to these StarCraft Evolution maps, Monty Hall is one of the more unorthodox maps in the map.
What I want to know is what the veto process looked like here.
True.
Between SKillous and Spirit, because this map made it through. But also by the looks of things, yeah, Spirit just not too familiar with the map. I guess. What I was gonna say, I guess SKillous as the higher seed would have been able to would have had the first priority when it came to vetoing maps, right? But then what did Spirit veto?
Yeah. Instead, it looks like they must have vetoed the 4-player maps, as I believe most of them were removed from at least this initial setup here. So interesting. Meanwhile, we do have a robot opener out of SKillous only on 1 gateway, so he's rushing into a shuttle, rushing into the bay, rushing into a Reaver drop.
Yeah, love to see him. And again, this is why I was hoping we would get to see more of Skillous's group or Protoss, because he has that experience. He has been playing in a lot of the SEL weeklies. He has been just familiarizing himself and taking a little bit more of the initiative here of getting into something that he missed out on a little bit of as a child.
Yeah, he does poke in, does go for the SCVs, but behind the mineral line, the bunker is solid, but it looks like we are able to at least deny some mining time here at the natural, and the Reaver production has begun. SKillous has to be very careful though not to lose this shuttle.
Yeah, again, the shuttles have a very short pickup range, and that's something that can absolutely be abused here or utilized by the Terran player and by all of these Marines as well. Now, if you're used to having the pickup range of a Warp Prism, it can be a little bit, your muscle memory can tend to kick in a little bit. You might be a little bit surprised as to why you're not able to pick up your units as quickly with the shuttle.
Oh yeah, for sure. So it is much more difficult to micro with a shuttle than it is a Warp Prism. It's much more unforgiving as well. Meanwhile, the first Reaver has loaded up, the Scarabs are building, and the drop is moving out across the map.
Slowly but surely. We are about to get shuttle speed though, right? That's what the upgrade is?
Yeah. Shuttle speed is on the way. SKillous making his way towards the main base. As you can see, Spirit, he is spread out with his tanks. Let's have a nice spread of Marines as well. We'll see if SKillous goes for the mineral line or if he tries to go for the bio army. Ooh, the first Viking has arrived though, and Spirit, he is ready to intercept.
That he is. SKillous, you gotta go make a decision, and the decision is to get the hell out of here.
Yeah, with shuttle speed, he should be able to outspeed and get out of the clutches of that Viking, but the initial build of choice has not really come to fruition. SKillous does no damage.
None whatsoever. Spirit, meanwhile, super safe with his setup right now. Again, he's only expanding it one direction at a time. My eye is glued to this gold mineral. So I want to see if he eventually does pick it up.
I'm sure he will get there, I'm sure. As we can
It's
see.
go, yeah!
Yay! There we go. There we go. Does get the gold minerals. Meanwhile, SKillous, he does load up a second Reaver. He rotates around and he's going to try once again to go for another shuttle drop towards the natural. SV does get eyes on the shuttle, and the Vikings, they do respond.
Trying to make their way. Jeez. I know that was a fresh supply depot.
Oh, the
It's only
shuttle!
at the beginning.
The
but
shuttle!
Still almost instant.
Oh
The
my
shuttle
God.
will fall. That's just the power of these two Vikings. But thankfully, the Reavers will live for the time being. Wasting a Scarab on one of these Vikings. That
Yeah,
was a very smart maneuver here from Spirit to wait until the end before pouncing.
Yeah, very nice spread there by Spirit. That was a massive loss. Shuttle and 2 Reavers. That was insane. Just so much production time and so many resources down the drain. And now Spirit, he's in the driver's seat. He's moving out. Back at home, SKillous, he's stuck with what? Master Dragoon, getting into Zealots. Now trying to rebuild that Reaver production. And again, he just gained no value out of that. He killed like 1 SCV and a handful of Marines.
Yeah, this opening has not worked out for SKillous at all, but he has bought himself a little bit of time to set up somewhat of a 2-base economy. I do like that from SKillous, he's not neglecting his Reavers either. I feel like so far in the Fall Championship, we've seen a lot of Protoss players, when they play Brute War Protoss, they get the Reavers to attack, and then after that, they don't build anymore. After that, brilliant move here from SKillous. After scouting, the drop coming his way, was able to intercept and kill 1 medevac full of units.
Yeah, 1 medevac full units does go down. You can see SKillous, he does rotate toward the left-hand side. At the same time, though, Spirit going for his own double drop here towards the natural. Reminder, no recall. Recall is not available, not this early on here in a Brood War, and Arbiter is required. As a result, the tanks, they just annihilate this mineral line. They've dropped over the wall, and they're within range.
Yeah, we got a base trade now.
Oh, yeah, we have a pseudo base trade. The problem is that Spirit, he has reinforcements waiting for this.
He does, but how many? We have Widow Mines that almost get some friendly fire, but no, not quite.
Oh! Yeah, still a bit of friendly fire here on these Marines, so better mine shots for SKillous as Zelce busts into the mineral line, but back across the map, 26 probe kills. A drop into the main base as well. SKillous is losing every single probe.
One way or another, this series is about to end.
Yeah, SKillous is being crippled here. He's down to 20 probes, barely an economy. The shuttle the Reaver will defend. SKillous, he races back home, but what is he running back to?
2 tanks is going to be the answer. 2 tanks and a bunch of bio. I'm not sure if this was necessarily the right move here from SKillous, but he's dealt some damage, and now he's going to be able to defend on his 2 bases. He is still way behind, though, when it comes to his economy.
Yeah, I mean...
he maybe needed to... I was just going to say, he maybe needed to commit more to dealing damage across the map.
Yeah, the problem is that he could deal no damage across the map, right? Spirit, he had an army is the problem. I mean, he was all over this. He had an army across the map, army back at home, and Spirit, he is in control. He's moving out once again, making sure there is no other expansion. He can trade against the army, and these are trades that Spirit can afford.
So even if the Reavers get the perfect Scarab connection here, Spirit still has plenty of money left over, plenty of production left over to recoup all of his losses. That's why you save the gold for your rainy day.
True. Oh, the shuttle down! Okay, shuttle does survive. 1 Reaver shot goes up, 1 Reaver goes down, and Spirit, he takes down the natural. SKillous is down to 1 mining base. And as you mentioned before, Yaku, again, it was just a disastrous start for SKillous. The initial Reaver drop did no damage, and he lost the shuttle, 2 Reavers, and it was just a brutal start for SKillous.
GG is called as a result of that, and Spirit gonna be taking that series 2-1. Gonna be advancing to the decider match now to face the STC in a TvT. The first time we're gonna be seeing that in this tournament.
Yeah, let's go. We have a Terran versus Terran coming up ahead of us. Congratulations to Spirit. My condolences to SKillous here again. We were coming into this group and coming into this tournament, we were still kind of in the air when it came to the performances and the results of players like Spirit and SKillous. You know, they are more well-renowned in StarCraft 2, and we don't really know how much they played StarCraft Evolution. Clearly, SKillous, he is well-versed, and he did have some very interesting builds up his sleeve as well. But yeah, this was just a really rough game here on Monty Hall for him.
Yeah, without a doubt. He had a plan coming into this, and a plan that would have worked brilliantly if he was facing any other Terran player.
Mhm.
I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I feel like that series really encapsulates the essence of Spirit. He's just such a chaotic player. Sometimes you don't know what the hell he's doing. Sometimes it
Mhm.
looks like an obvious mistake because it is, but at other times it actually works out in his favor. And it's more that we just can't comprehend the genius that is Spirit.
Exactly. So Piotr will advance on, and let's quickly switch our scenes here and have a look at the group. As a reminder, this is a GSL group here between our players, and we have had quite a lot of progression so far. Oh, it does look like I need to try to refresh though. There we go. And we have our last two players here. So 3 Point was our first player to advance on in first place. Meanwhile, Spirit knocks out SKillous, and up next we have that TvT, the SCC versus Spirit.
Indeed, we shall for the first time in the SEL Fall Championship. Now, it is going to be a TvT, but it's not quite going to be a mirror matchup, as it is mandated every single match has to be SC2 versus Brood War.
Exactly. So the mirror matchups aren't really mirror matchups. I do believe that the Brood War and SC2 races are different enough where they are quite distinct between themselves, and because of that, it's always a little fun to actually embrace these mirror matchups to kind of get an eye or see those differences.